don't remember getting to Yud Beis yet.
So Yud Aleph?
Yud Aleph, we definitely started. It could be that we. Yeah. Well, let's just we'll go from Yud Aleph. We can go quickly over the first part. This is where he's saying, based upon what he said in the previous parak, about in one aspect, he's talking about whether man is greater or a malach is greater.
Right.
He says in one aspect, the malach is obviously greater. He's greater in his kedusha. He's greater in his comprehension. He's greater in everything. So is there any tzad that man is greater than a malach? She says yes. That's the whole basis of the sefer. A malach has no ability to affect the olamus with anything that he does or says or thinks.
Right.
But a person, he has that's the tzelem elokim shabo.
Right.
That's the way Hashem made us. That through our dibur ma'aseh machshava, we have the ability to connect to and elevate all the worlds, and that's what brings the bracha into all the worlds, into life, and into this world as well. So on that basis, he starts off Perek Yud Aleph and says, "V'zeu atam," and this is the reason why the malachim hamakdishim l'shmei marom mamtinim milashalish kedushosam ad achar she'anu mishalshim kedusha lamata. The malachim, they wait before they say their three-pronged kedusha until the kedusha has been said down here.
Right.
That's the kedusha of Klal Yisrael. To my knowledge, there's no goyim that have any kedusha in their prayer service. We're talking about the kedusha that Klal Yisrael says.
Right.
And that's so the malach waits. Why does the malach wait? Afsha kedushasam lamala mikdushaseinu. Even though their kedusha is higher than our level of kedusha. Lo shehem. So why do they wait for us? Lo shehem cholkim kvod v'Yisrael. It's not because they are simply giving honor to the Jewish people. You go first. Like we mentioned, it says in Avos Rabbi Nosson that it says in the Davening, it says Magdishin zeh lezeh. You know what I'm referring to?
Yes, it's in the prayer document.
Yeah, zeh. What's the zeh lezeh? So the Avos Rabbi Nosson says that one malach says to the other one, You precede me in saying the kedusha to Hashem, because you're greater than me. You're more worthy than me to say. So that's the anivus of the malach, the derech eretz of the malach. He tells to his fellow malach, you go first. And then he says to him, no, you go first. No, you go first. And they end up saying together. But here. So it's not because of that that they do this. Ella, she'ein b'koicham v'yacholtam klal mitzad atzmam. They do not have the koach. They don't have the yacholet, the power or the ability whatsoever, mitzad atzmam, from their own essence, liftoach pihem, to open their mouth. Lakdish liotzram, to sanctify their Creator. Ad aliyas kol kedushas Yisrael aleihem milamata, until the kol, the voice of the kedusha that's recited by Klal Yisrael, is ola, goes up through all of the olamos, until it gets up aleihem, to them, milamata, from way down below. Now, why is that? That's based upon what we've said. Ki inyan amiras hakedusha hu ha'alas Lamos v'izkashusam. I think we did this. So we're just going over it very quickly.
Yes.
Kol olam ba'olam sheme'alav. Each olam is covers the one on below it. One on top of the other one. That's the seder, and there's a hishtalshelis. There's a the kedusha comes down. The bounty comes down from one olam to the other one. Each one filters and receives and sends onward all of the bounty that comes from way up by the kisei covered from Hashem Himself. The hosif kedushasam with sichsuch oram. This they add on to. There's two things. They to add on to their kedusha and to increase their or, their light. There's or and there's kedusha. There's two spiritual presence that Hashem gives down. One is the or and one is the kedusha. The kedusha is the, so to speak, the atmosphere. It's an atmosphere of kedusha. The or is like oraisa. That's the ability to access the kedushas of mitzvahs and Torah. Torah's or oraisa. So you have to have both. Torah Torah has its ultimate koach in an atmosphere, in a background, in a situation of kedusha. So that's why those two things have to go together.
But I don't know what that means.
That means like this: a yeshiva bacher can learn all the Torah that he wants. He can learn all the mesechtas that he wants, and if he's going to look in the wrong places on his cell phone, all his Torah is geschmutzt. It doesn't have the power that it could have.
So kedusha refers to intention.
Kedusha is how do you? I mean, what is kedusha? It's what the mitzvahs and the Torah needs in order for the Torah and the mitzvahs to have their full impact. Because that's the way it goes. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. Torah has to go together with kedusha. If there's Torah, there could be Torah, but there's not kedusha. The Torah is almost like no Torah at all.
So it's a specialness. You're treating it specially.
Torah has to be what?
You're treating it specially by not looking in your phone. You're giving it honor.
Oh, okay. So there's two aspects of not looking at your phone. There's an aspect of Torah b'ritzifut. The Chazon Ish speaks about this. A person learns Torah full attention, 1 hour. Ooh, he's got something over there. 1 hour of involvement in Torah. Then instead of taking a break, he does another hour. And another hour. He goes all the way up to, I think, 10 hours. You're thinking, oh yeah, the Chazon Ish, that's what the Chazon Ish used to do, so he knows what he's talking about. But for us, who don't do that, but the whole idea, that's the same story with Rabbi Kiva. Right? Rabbi Kiva learns 12 years, he goes back to say hello to his wife and have a coffee and with her and chat and maybe spend the night over there, and he's going to go back he goes to he hears by the door, he's about to go in, the Hashgacha, Divine Providence has it, that he hears his wife say to somebody who is saying, look, you got just a yeshiva bacher for a husband. What's it good for you? You're sitting here, you don't have any food to eat, you don't have any this, you don't have a husband. And she said if he would stay for another 12 years and not come back or something like that, whatever she said, it would be even better. So he heard that.
Right.
He didn't go in. So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, Rosh Yeshivas Mir, Zatzal, asks the question, why couldn't he just go in?
Say hello at least.
You came, how long did it take you to come here? This is what you came to do. Do what you came to do. You'll leave the next morning. What's the schlecht? What's wrong? So he has a whole shmooze about this. Torah of 24 years, he learned for 24 years. Taught Torah 24 years. This is not the same thing as 12 plus 12.
I've heard that, but I've never understood it.
Mitziyut. You want to try to understand why it is so. Okay, I hear. First, we have to know that it is so. That's why he did it.
Right.
That's why he did it, because it is so.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how we have to try to figure out: can we explain this? Do we see a dugma? Do we see an example of this in the physical world? Here we're talking about something that's totally spiritual. We're talking about the koach of Torah.
Right.
But generally, we can find a dugma, an example of that in the physical world too, that we can relate to and say, oh, that's the way it's in the physical world too, even. So, stands to reason that the spiritual world is like that. Of course it's like that. So, what do we have an example of this? Let's say you have an athlete, right? And he's training for the Olympics. Yeah. So the last week he's training for the Olympics. The Olympics is 1 week away. He decides, he needs a break. He's going to go to town for today. He takes off. So comes back. He's still thinking about his wonderful day that he had. He had a great day, and now the next 3 days before the Olympics, he's trying to get ready. He's trying to do it, but something just doesn't have the edge. Doesn't have the same drive that he had before. He's more interested in taking another day like that. Mm-hmm. And he comes in second. He would have come in first for sure if he had just continued and seen the thing through to its end without interruption. Oh, that's the thing. You got a pot that's cooking on the thing, and you take it off, and then it gets cold. Oh, so now you'll say, oh, I'll just put it back on for a second. It only needed 1 more second to get hot. It was 1 second before it was going to be hot. No, you took it off for 5 minutes. Now you got to do the whole thing over again. You lost the whole thing. You were heating it for 5 minutes, and now you took a 5-minute break, put it on the side. Now you got to start all over again. Mm-hmm. Doesn't. What do you mean? I put in 5 minutes of heat into it. Yeah, but now you put in 5 minutes of cold into it.
So you're saying
it doesn't work.
If he sat down with his wife, had a conversation, had a cup of coffee, spent the night, got up early the next morning, went back to Yeshiva, that he would not be able to get back into his learning.
He'll need another day and another week.
Okay. and then so let's say it takes him a week to get back into it.
Yeah, so he lost that whole week.
Right, but in the course of 24 years, what is a week?
You have to understand what the days of Rebbe Akiva were like.
Right.
It was different. It's a difference. Even that Rebbe Akiva, we all know for ourselves. Look, sometimes there's Bein Hazmanim, there's taking a break, because I can't go anymore. Right. If I'm going to keep going, I'm going to fall on the floor and I'm not going to continue.
Right.
Okay, we're not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. Rabbi Akiva was going and going and going. He didn't need a break. He didn't need any break. Why is my wife calling me again? No, somebody else is calling me. He didn't need a break. He was doing it for his wife, not because he needed a break. Once he heard from her that for her part, she's saying, I wish he would continue. Mm-hmm. So he said, so if that's where she's holding, then that's what she wants. So that's what I have to do. I have to continue. These are that was the situation. That was the situation. So how do we get onto this?
Good question. What were we talking about?
Yeah, for us, we can't go 12 years without a break. Look at Yaakov Avinu, right? He spends, how many years was it? In Beis Aver?
14, I think.
14 years, and he doesn't sleep in a bed. Can't be he didn't sleep at all.
Right.
He was learning by the stender, and when he couldn't keep his eyes open anymore, and he just dropped on the stender and has a dremelach like that. But he can't go forever without sleeping. He can't go 14 years without sleeping. But he didn't need the whole night sleep in his bed, you'll say. But what's the difference? The difference is that he's going to continue basically to learn for 14 straight years. And he's going to become Yaakov Avinu. So even though we can't do that because we're not able to do that, if we would do that, we would break physically and mentally and every other way.
Right.
But the idea we take from it is that if I have an hour to learn now, then that hour is Kodesh Kadoshim. I have that hour to learn, and I'm not going to allow any other thing to interrupt that hour of learning because it's not the same thing. 24 minutes and 20 and 36 minutes as 60 minutes straight without the 2-minute interruption, without the 1-minute interruption, without the 15-second interruption. I mean, today you can hardly. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, there's almost no such thing today. Every 5 minutes, somebody's coming up to you for whatever. But anyway, but this is it's the Torah itself that's the idea. It's an exponential. You see that in the physical world. You see, if something is boiling straight for 20 minutes, you take it off after 10 minutes. That's what we said.
Right.
So in other words, for that time that you take it off, it doesn't maintain its heat.
Well, it's like
it's going down.
Between food cooked once and food cooked twice. Leftovers. Some people won't eat leftovers because they say it tastes different. When you reheat it, it's not the same as the initial heating. There's changes, some kind of subtle changes take place in the chemical makeup of the food. That's what you're saying.
Okay. That's the idea. How we got onto that, I don't know.
We did because of holiness. I was asking.
We're talking about Torah and Kedusha. Oh, so that was one aspect of Kedusha. An interruption from the involvement in Torah.
Right.
Torah itself is Kedusha, but it has to be learned in Ritzifut, without interruption, because 1 minute on top of another minute, on top of another minute, on top of another minute is a different Torah than a Torah of 1 minute Torah, 1 minute Devorim B'Telim, another minute of Torah, another minute of Devorim B'Telim, another minute of Torah, like that. It's a instead of one straight line, it's a broken line. A broken line doesn't connect. Broken line doesn't connect. You want a straight line that each point on the line is connected to the. So that's one idea. And there's another idea of Kedusha that it's not simply that he's answering a phone call on his cell phone, but the things that there are on the cell phone that he could look at.
Right.
Oy va'oy. Oy va'oy.
But that's actually an Avera then, so you're saying.
Yeah, right.
The Avera would.
Right. That's the opposite of Kedusha. That's the opposite of Kedusha. So that is even if the Torah is there, but it's enveloped in Tuma. It's enveloped in the opposite of Kedusha. Torah has to be enveloped in Kedusha. Then it has great impact. It has great influence. But the very same Torah, I'm not saying he's not learning Torah properly. He's learning Torah. I mean, it's hard to imagine he could learn it the same way, but almost. But with this involvement in this something, other things that are the opposite of Kedusha, big problem. Big problem. So that's the person's gotta, everybody's a human being, and everybody has to work on these things, and it's just that, to have these types of phones that people have, is very, very problematic. Right, in other words, Lomi boy, we don't have to even mention the fact it's an Avera. Yeah, it's an Avera. You don't understand. The person thinks, okay, so it's an Avera, but at least I have Torah. At least I got my Torah, right? No. Your Torah is not the healthy Torah. It affects the Torah.
Right.
Even though it looks to you like it's the same Torah. I learned the same Torah. I learned the same Gemara. I learned the same Daf Yomi. I learned the same thing. In the spiritual realm, it's not the same Torah. It's not the same Torah at all. Yeah. There are a lot of Nisyonis in this generation. We never had things like this before. Never any such thing like this. I mean, there's always somebody wants to do something like that, but it's so accessible.
Right.
Everybody has a phone like that. Not everybody. A lot of people have a phone like this.
Right.
Okay, so anyway.
It's a problem. But that's helpful. So a lot of people use the word, hear it all the time. It's like, well, what does it actually mean? It's a difficult concept. What does Kedusha mean?
Kedushim to you.
Kedusha, holiness, sanctification,
What is that?
spiritual.
Spiritual.
We have a whole parsha, Kedoshim to you. Hashem commands us to be Kodesh. And the Ramban says, Rashi says, what does it mean, be Kodesh? He says, be Porush from Erba, from Arias. These types of things. The Ramban says something else. He says it's not simply Erba, it's not just simply Arias, not simply that. He says the person has to be Makadesh himself in that which is permissible to him. All these things, food, drink, other types of physical pleasures and enjoyments, they're all permissible. We're all mitzvahs. I'm doing a mitzvah. Yeah, do it with Kedusha. Do it with Kedusha. There's a way of doing it, which is a way of doing it with Kedusha. The Ramban says a person could keep Kol Torah Kula, all Taryag mitzvahs, whatever the mitzvahs that we have to shak today, and nevertheless, if he doesn't do it with Kedusha, and he does it in a different type of a way, he could be a menuva. He could be a lowlife, Rishus HaTorah, so to speak. With, so to speak, the permission of the Torah. The Torah didn't asur him from doing that. The Ramban says the Torah does asur him from doing that. It says in this pasuk, Kedoshim to you. That's the opposite of Kedoshim to you. It's not simply to keep the mitzvahs. You have to do them in a way of Kedusha. Not only don't do the Aveiros, like Rashi says, then you'll be Kodesh. You have to, when you're doing the mitzvahs are there's a lot of ways to do mitzvahs. And they're mitzvahs, Taka. But they have to be done in the way of Kedusha.